Rositsa, what's up?
Hi, thank you for having me to your podcast. I'm super flattered to be invited to be the first one. Yay!
So the thing was, like, you originally were going to be the first person, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna have you, and then Michelle. I wanted to have Michelle on too, and then she ended up scheduling like 2 hours or something like that, like right before like you had. So you're the first person to schedule, second one to be recorded, but who cares,
Uh,
right?
okay, yeah, sure. I didn't know, but that's
you're
cool.
you're
I
like
love Michelle.
first in like you're like first in like everything else like in the community in terms of, like you're always like when I check like the leaderboards in our, so for people that don't know, like our communities on school, and there's like a leaderboard for like the engagement basically, and like Rosita is always number one, not even close. Like I'll check and you're like 300 points like ahead of like second place.
Yeah, and which leads me to when you're on that subject. Speaking of which, I don't even try, I just naturally engage because it's a nice, good vibe place to be at. I love everyone there, and whatever I can help with, I just jump in and have convos. And on that note, too, without me knowing that there is like such a leaderboard things, I've gotten like a first place 2 months ago, and Dee sent me this super cool hat. I wear it everywhere. And then last month it was this shirt. I'm gonna read it real quick for you in case the whole thing is not in the camera. Is God bless whoever sent it on me. It's cool.
Yeah, I really want to show
Thank
just
you.
like appreciation to like the members. I think the thing that always bothered me is I would join, like, especially if it's like a free community, it just freaking sucks. It's like you're just treated like a lead magnet. It's like you're only here so I can try to sell you this next thing. And like there's no energy or effort spent in like getting to know people, connecting people together. It's just like I have this thing just so I can sell. And I was like, I don't want to have that. I want it to be like, yeah, it's free, but it's like we're all like family. Like we all hang out. Like we help each other out. So you always bring like those good vibes. So I try to, show the love, return the love, I guess.
Thanks. And it feels that way, like energy is very, it's one thing that we don't see, but we feel, and it translates in your posts, it translates in your comments, in everything. And if you're treating people as like with back thoughts of like, how can I sell you something? People feel that. And something to be said in real life too. Energy translates even when I'm on stage. I'm a little off with my energy, and I could immediately see it's vibing on my dance floor that way. So it's a thing for sure, and
So
it's
for people
appreciated that
that,
you can.
so for the people that don't already know you, like explain a little bit about like what you do now, like your business, everything that you're into.
Yeah, how much time you got?
A brief, like just not the story of like how you got there, but just like what you're doing.
Yeah. So three main things under three main companies. I manage myself as an artist under my last name Aleksandrova, and I do EDM music mainly, and combined with classical piano. So when I'm on stage, sometimes I just DJ my tracks and other people's tracks, into a set on the dance floor or festival, rave, whatever. And sometimes I bring my piano and I do freestyling with my DJ set. And I release music also. So me as an artist is like one segment of that. And then I have a music school where we have courses and coaching programs. And I work with artists and develop them also as teachers or artists, whatever they want to go towards. And then the third one, Vibian, I it has many different things under Vibian, but it is an event company, a record label, radio show, and artist roster, and art cars, and all of that. It's tailoring to empower musicians and EDM artists to the next level, and gives them exposure to places that otherwise they wouldn't have a chance. There's pretty everything is heart driven that they do, and if it doesn't lit me up, I don't do it.
Yeah. Can you hear that? Can you hear the thunder? Can you hear that?
I heard something a little bit. a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's crazy here in Florida right now. But so basically, like everything that you're doing right now is pretty much centered around like either you making music or helping and working with people that are making music.
Yeah, yeah. I dabble a little bit in real estate as a hobby. Has nothing to do with music. It's just I'm just gravitating towards it as it's just interesting how you can create different deals and look into things differently. I'm not talking about like just flipping a house type of thing, but why not that too?
So the thing I'm curious about, and we were talking about this in the community in the comments, but I was like, I have to like ask you this on the podcast. So like we had a post
Uh oh.
we had a post in the community where like people were sharing like vulnerable like things about like their past and like how they got to where they're at. And like I was sharing how like I moved out of the house when I was like 14 and you said that you had a similar story. One of the things that you had said was when you moved out, you ended up like getting an apartment and then you were working at these places and like then you ended up like at your grandma's house, but you had said you were like 13. And I know like in the US, there's like no way that you can work anywhere for one until you're like it'd be like illegal to basically I think if you're younger than 16, you're definitely not going to get like a place. So you grew up in Bulgaria. Like, what was that like? Like, how did that? Like, how the heck did that even? How was that even possible?
Yeah, yeah. I know it sounds pretty wild living in the states, and yeah. Um, yeah, no, I live in the States for a long time now, and I'm completely aware of like what the laws are here for everything, and yeah, it just sounds mind blowing. But a little bit of that. I did grow up in Russia, and I moved back to. I was born in Bulgaria, grew up in Russia, and then moved back to Bulgaria in my teens.
Oh,
That's
so
when I
how
moved
long were you
out.
in Russia?
Like 6, 7 years, something like that.
Oh, like what
My
ages?
dad
Like,
was in, um, maybe 3 or 4 when I went. It's a little
oh, okay,
blurry. It's been a long time.
yeah,
But yeah, my dad was in the army, and we were moved to different country, the ex USSR countries. So now there are different countries, but before it used to be USSR. So we were moving into a new location every 6 months. So I was always like the new kid on the block and the new kid in school whenever I
wow.
wasn't homeschooled, because most of the time I was homeschooled as well. So anyway, when I did move out, finally, I was already I have moved back to Bulgaria, and it's the reason is because my family is extremely conservative. I couldn't do normal things that other kids could do, like meet at friend's house or go to a birthday or go out. Just normal things, and I couldn't wear skirts, have long hair, pluck my eyebrows, girls things,
Yeah.
and had to practice the piano for 8 hours a day, and that was a bit tedious. But you know what? That brought me into composing because I was just effing around on the piano for 8 hours, not doing my assignments, and my parents were always wondering, why are you getting such a bad report from your teacher? Constantly says you haven't practiced and you spend on the piano all these hours every day. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh. But yeah, that led me to composing without me even knowing what I was doing. I was just like, as I said, effing around on the piano. And that was the first stages of me putting things together, my own things. And later on led to production and then making my own music. I
But
didn't know it at the time.
so when you moved, you were in Russia, and then you moved back to Bulgaria by yourself. You went to live with family. Like, what was that
No,
like?
no, no. The family have moved back to Bulgaria at
Okay.
that time. Yeah. And I spent some time with them in Bulgaria, and it was like really bad. It was so bad. I felt like I had no choice. It's either that or I'm gonna die or something. And I don't know. It was just I just had no choice. I just had to move myself out of this environment to take control of my life and do whatever the heck I want. And what I wanted at that time really wasn't that much. I just wanted to be able to go to raves like in Germany, the Love Parade and things like that, and just party and be a human, normal being. Without people laughing at me that my parents won't let me do this or that.
So like, how old were you at this time?
13.
So that's why I'm wondering, like, how were you able to, like, how were you able to get out of that situation, like at that age?
Yeah. So the thing is also it's good to point out because especially people that live here in the states, the laws here are different for like alcohol. You have to be
Yes.
21 years old to drink alcohol, and in Europe I think it's 18 now. But before at that time, I don't think that was even regulated because I remember clearly myself going to the store as a very very little toddler with a big wagon and carrying alcohol bottles for our workers, vodka, rakia, which is like a kind of like a type of tequila, like lots of bottles with a wagon and beers for the workers to my parents' house. So it wasn't even like a question whether they're gonna let me buy it or not. Yes, you got the money, they got whatever you need.
Yeah. But so
Yeah.
like I understand like the alcohol thing, but I know like let's say like in the US, if you're 13 and even if you can run away from home, like you don't have any money to like buy a place. You like
Right,
can't
yeah.
go rent a place. Like the police are gonna probably try to find you. Your parents are gonna say you ran away. So like if you're able to go into that, like how are you able to okay, I don't like this situation at home. How was it even possible for you to go like how do you like how does that even happen? How does that work?
Yeah. So for money, what it is what you're asking. So first I started teaching piano because I've always played piano up to that point. I still do and teach, and I started teaching piano lessons, and then I got into fashion modeling, and that's like a really good age to get into modeling because a lot of doors are open and you can go many different ways. So I learned quite a few lessons from that as well. But piano and modeling, and then I got into it's kind of like bartending. It was a job between barista and bartender slash everything in this like coffee shop. It was like a local coffee shop, but not really coffee shop because it's
At
coffee
that
shop
young
with
of an age?
alcohol and food. Yes, yes.
Dang,
So it
that's
was it
crazy.
was a local place. Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't crazy back then. I was making a shit ton of money at that place, and the thing is that it was a local place where all the mafia guys were like they're like little hub where they kind
Okay.
of meet every day type of thing. And sometimes their wives, sometimes them playing pool, drinking, and I don't know, hanging out, whatever. But yeah, they were all going. So it was like a hub for knowing certain people that is good to know. And I didn't know that it was when I started, but actually that led to other opportunities later on. And it's like, wow, you see, the universe has ways to provide what you want if you know what you want. And all I wanted was freedom at that point.
I guess like the question people have is like where like if you leave home but you're that young, like where do you sleep? Like where do you go outside of work?
Yeah, I got an apartment and it was very close to my school at the time. I was in a French, everything was in French school, and it was in a walking distance, and that was my reason to get into that apartment because I
But
didn't want to
you
use
were able
public
to
transport.
just go to a company at that young of an age and be like, hey, I just want an apartment.
Yeah, it's not really it wasn't like companies per se. It's more like people listing things, like you have like a newspaper with ads, and it kind of like in America we have Craigslist, yeah, online,
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
be careful. Yeah, but it was like a newspaper thing, and you have like different sections of you can select what you're looking for. You're looking for land to buy,
And
you're
I
looking
feel
for
like
a
most
bike, you're looking for an
13-year-olds in the
apartment.
US would be lost. Like they would not know like what to do if they left the house. They would be like, "Bro, I don't even know how to read any of this stuff. I don't know what I'm looking
Oh,
for."
I know. Here they have to check your credit. You need to have first and last deposit, and like oh 9 yards. A criminal record check, maybe sometimes. I don't know, but yeah, that was not the case. Yeah, I don't know how it is now there because the only time I go back to Bulgaria is when I see my parents, and only if it works with my tour schedule when I'm in Europe. So not that often. Every few years for like a few days or a
Were
week.
you so were how like scared were you at this time? It's like, man, I'm this young. I'm living on my own. I have to work. I have to do all this stuff. Or were you like more independent at that age?
I was not scared at all. I was happy as they get. I was happy and super free. And the thing is that I think we learn how to be scared with the age. The older we get, the more scared we are of taking risks and doing this and that. And I was not scared at all. Like, that didn't exist. Undeterred, baby.
Let's go. So how did you get from? Okay, you're in Russia. You come back to. Are you still? Are you able to hear me still? I think the
I'm sorry.
weather. I think the weather might affect the internet a little bit. Okay, I can see you. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay. How did you go? So you're in Russia, then your family moves to Bulgaria. Then you're like, man, things aren't going well at home. I'm gonna move out. How did you get from? I know at some point you ended up in the U.S. Like, how did you get from that to coming to the U.S.?
Yeah, so I went to France first, and then I went to US. I went to Oklahoma. Uh,
When did you get to France, and like what took you there?
studying, because before that in Bulgaria I was in French school, and I was like, okay, that's the logical step. But uh, then the logical step was to come to the United States. But I was still influenced by what my parents like. You see, I grew up in a very conservative family, as I said. And so for my parents, if you're not a doctor or a lawyer, then you're a piece of shit. Excuse my French. So me being in music and modeling and all these things that I love doing, for them was like, you're wasting your life and potential. And with that said, like, it was never good enough. This or that doesn't matter of my grades or achievements. Oh, well, talking about achievements, I was karate champion in my country, and third degree
Karate
black belt.
champion.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so don't mess
no,
with you,
that,
basically. All right, got it.
huh?
I said so. Don't mess with you. Okay, I got it.
Right. Yeah, I was telling a friend yesterday because we were having a party, and I was part of it, and a friend of mine was talking to me, and he was a little buzzed, and he was like very close to me physically, and this guy that is I just met, but he's helping run the party. He comes up to me and he's like, just so you know, you can always count on me and talk to me if somebody's bothering you. I'm like, gee, thanks, that's so nice of you. It's like, first of all, I can whoop anybody's ass right now without like hesitation, and I wouldn't even feel bad about it if they deserve it. Yeah. But second of all, he's my homie. Actually, he's just a little buzz. That's all it is. And and then I realized what I said to this guy that doesn't know me, and I'm like, gosh, I look this little innocent, fragile girl. Of course, he's trying to protect me and all
Yeah,
that.
of
He was
course.
nice. Yeah. But yeah. So
Okay,
why
so
I said that is
you went to
because
France to study. What were you studying?
it was just a bunch of prerequisites that everything was in French. So I was thinking that maybe I would relocate there and stay there. So I didn't really have an idea exactly what I want to study.
What city were
But
you in?
my parents, uh, Paris.
Oh, nice, dope. Okay.
Yeah. So my parents were pushing me because we were kind of in contact, not really, but sort of. So they were pushing me towards medicine, right? And I'm really interested in Eastern medicine, but not in Western medicine for many reasons. And I was accepted with a full scholarship in a university in Oklahoma for pre med to become a doctor at some point. So be pre med and then go into like the whole 8 years. I was like, okay, I'll do that. But you know what? It's totally disgusts me how things work when it comes to the medical industry. It's not for me, and don't want to point fingers or blame or anything. Don't want to be that person, but it's just not for me. And I don't feel like me becoming a doctor with Western medicine a degree will benefit the world. I can give so much more to the world with my other talents. So I just said F it and moved to Florida, where you're at, nearby where you're at, actually. And
Why
I didn't
why
move.
why why Florida? Like why the U.S.?
I'll tell you right now. I was in Oklahoma, man. Okay, during the winter, and it was before Christmas. I remember because like I was in Florida for Christmas already. I was like, oh, but backtrack. It was like wind and snow and flat, and there is nothing. The only entertainment there is like going to Walmart or to the bank. And oh, and then at that time I realized that I need to wait to become legal in order to have a drink. Not that I was like a big drinker or anything, but like I wasn't even 21.
Oh, so
So
you moved here when you were like quite young still.
yeah, yeah, I was not 21, so I couldn't even get to like, bars and clubs, anything that is like has to do with
Yeah.
music parties, none of that. Yeah, and it was so cold and windy in Oklahoma. That wind would you would feel it going through your bones. It
Ugh.
was so cold and miserable, and like I didn't know English at all, and I felt like left out. And first of all, I did move out of the dorms, but at first I was at the dorms, and I was just like I wasn't fitting in with like the other girls my age because first of all, I didn't really speak the language, but there were other international students. For me, it was more like the mentality of them. You hear, oh my gosh, and I was like, oh, just fucking shut up. Excuse my French again, and I just wanted normal people, like define normal. I'm not normal really, but
I
I
know what
was
you mean.
not fitting in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I moved out immediately, like the first, maybe the second one, maybe the first, like after a month and a half. I just couldn't move out of the doors, got my own apartment, and was there. And one day I'm getting out of the shower and I jump out, and my foot falls through the first floor into the neighbor, from the floor into the neighbor. I'm like, what the heck? It turns out how they built house. I don't know. It was like one of those not good construction to where I was like, all right, so live and learn. Because me coming from Europe, how we do construction there is not necessarily how we do construction here in the States. So I didn't expect that. It was just very shocking. And then the landlord started brushing me off for like fixing things, and I had complaints for noise complaints. So the cops
Uh,
would come. My music is too loud, and I'm like, it's really not too loud. But they're like, no, it is. We're gonna write you a ticket for disturbing the peace. And I'm like, what is even that? And it's just things like that, little by little. And I was like, and it's cold. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna go to Florida for Christmas. Here there is warmth. I never been to Florida before, right? So I go to Florida, and I haven't spoken to my parents since I got into the States, and it's been like a few months since I was already in school. Yeah, because I got in the States in August, and we're talking like towards Christmas time already. So it's been like a few months. And I call my dad, and I'm like in Florida, and it's just the ocean, the palm trees, and around Christmas time, you know it,
what city
there's
were you?
like, oh, St. Petersburg.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and so around Christmas, you know how Florida it has like lots of pretty places with like good greenery and has lights, Christmas lights, and it's pretty, and especially downtown St. Pete, very decked out, right? And now it's even more than like I watched that city. I lived there for 16 and a half years. I watched it grow from like being borderline boring to now it's super epic. I go there often to perform. And anyway, so I call my dad and I'm like, Dad, I found paradise on earth and I'm staying. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, and I'm gonna quit that medical school because like I'm not into it, and I don't care what you say. We're over the phone, so it's not like you can do nothing. And the reason I'm so brave over the phone because he used to whoop my ass big time, me growing up for like anything really. So I was kind of scared from him, obviously, but on the phone, yeah, I'm super brave. So anyway, and he's like, "Are you crazy? You're throwing away your future." And I'm like, "That I don't care. It's like I don't want to go back to Oklahoma. As a matter of fact, I left all my stuff there, my clothes. Like I have bought for the new apartment where I moved in. I have bought like a TV sound system, the kitchen stuff and bathrooms, like regular things for an apartment. So I just like left it there. I didn't never come back, and that was it. It was my decision.
So how did so at this point you're going to medical school. You I guess drop out or you stop doing that, how do you get to the point where you're like doing music like more full time or starting to make money like in the music industry?
Yeah. So that was a very long process, actually. Can you hear me, Red?
Yeah, can you?
Okay. Yeah, that was a really long process because first of all, when I went to the school in Oklahoma, because it's a credit system here in the States, we work like our school system here is like different credits to give you different whatever to get to a degree, right? And from back home, I had master's degree in music. And me coming back to like undergraduate degree here, it was kind of like discouraging step down. So I just said F it with everything, like I didn't care. So when I first moved to Florida, I was like, okay, well, I gotta think about money and how I'm gonna like make money and where I'm gonna stay. And like I had a little bit, but not much. And um the problem was that I didn't know the language. It was hard for me to even like I knew some stuff, but like it was hard for me to think of what I'm trying to say and say it. It was like
Uh-huh.
for like 5 minutes, and it's easier with signs. So I
Because
was like that.
you spoke Bulgarian, Russian, and French at this time.
uh yeah, at that point, yeah. And yeah, I didn't know English. So yeah, I'm just like finding out about this local place that's a Bulgarian coffee shop. uh,
In
they
Florida.
have a little food and of course like drinks. Yeah, Florida.
Oh, nice.
And I go there and uh,
I said, oh, that's cool. That's nice.
yeah. So I went in there and I ordered the cappuccino. And this guy comes up to me. He's like, "Hi, I'm the owner. Are you new?" And I'm like, "Yeah. How do you know?" And he's like, "I can tell. And you don't speak the language." And I'm like, "Not really. I don't know how I passed this test to get into that school. I had to actually pass an English proficiency test, which like I had no idea how I passed that, but it was multiple choice. So I was playing bingo." And anyway, so he's like, "Well, you need a job. You probably need the money." And I'm like, "Yeah, I need all of that." And so he's like, "Oh, you can work here if you want to." And I'm like, "Okay, do you want to ask me about my experience?" He's like, uh, "You don't need the. I will teach you everything you need to know." And I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "This is how you do coffee." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I was working. Remember how I told you in the beginning? I was working at that mafia
You're like, I've
bar,
been
like."
working since I was 13 years old. I know how to do
Yeah,
this.
yeah. So yeah. This is how you make an espresso, and I'm like, okay. This is how you make cappuccino. I'm like, I got that. This is how you measure alcohol. Make sure that you don't give more than this shot glass. And I'm like, yeah, I know that. You put more ice than a drink. And I'm like, I know. So I knew most of the stuff he taught me, and I started working there. And uh, it was not very good place, honestly. It got exponentially worse, but it was a
It was in a
start.
good place, and it got exponentially worse over time.
Right. But at the time, you know, whatever worked for the moment, it did. Yeah. And then I had a few like other BS jobs, like a banquet server, and I was working at the yacht club and at a Vinoué. It's like a big Marriott hotel type of thing, like a castle, and jobs like bus boy, bus girl, or whatever,
Oh yeah,
and then
busboy.
a
Yeah.
server. Yeah, and one job was really good, banquet server. I'm saying really good because it was like step up from where I was like at that time. And often enough I was thinking myself the question, what am I doing with my life? This is like BS. But it was more like, it's not always going to be like that forever. I will figure it out. And here and there I started picking up on a little bit of modeling jobs. And then I got into nursing, and I started working at the hospital and at the nursing home, at the
Oh,
same two places. And I got into nursing because that was more money, and it had to do with like the medical field I was in before, sort of.
okay.
And I was like, let's give it a chance. Maybe that could like bring more clarity into what I want to do with my life, and also bring money that are not serving alcoholics all day long, something different. So I did that, and that's when I decided that this is totally not for me. Don't want to do it. But in the process of doing all these jobs, I kind of started speaking more and more English, right? And one day I was comfortable to where like I can speak it, all right? And if I can't say something, I could explain it with different words. Let's give it a shot to teach some music. And I found this one company, and it was like it was something online. I don't know if it was like a website. I don't know, but like I've been with this company for 5 years, and they were hiring like piano teachers, and I'm like, oh great, that's my forte, you know. And they're like, they did an interview with me. They asked me for my degrees, and I give them everything. And then I played for them. They had like a auditioning, and I was like, hired. When do you want to start? Blah, blah, blah. And like, okay, negotiated the salary, and then I actually asked for raises pretty often and gotten some, and then had to say goodbyes with this company after 5 years, and it was amicable. But if you want to know, I'll tell you what happened. It was totally my decision. They just had to agree with it. And then I decided, oh, well, why don't I just do that myself? And I started doing it myself. And I had no marketing, nothing. Everything was word to mouth, and ended up having 150 people on a waiting list for a year before I decided that I need more teachers, because one person cannot, you know how you exhaust the amount of hours you have. I had
Yeah.
70 students a week, every single week. 70, you know, that's a lot. 101s.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's when I started also getting more into making my own music. Learned electronic music production with different softwares. Started with Logic, moved on to Ableton, and now I'm doing them all. And started producing tracks. You know, and I had a few DJ friends, and I reached out to all with my tracks. Here, play my track in your show, in your club, or whatever it is. Here, and just give them tracks. All of them were saying the same thing. This is shit. Nobody's gonna listen to that. It has too much classical music in it. I'm not gonna play it. And I was a little bit discouraged until I decided to show everyone the middle finger and learn how to DJ so I can do my own tracks. So I did do that, and it was really, really boring for me because, you know, from classical piano to DJing, where you just press a button, and it's like so boring. I don't want to do this. But with a little did I know, I wanted to give it a second chance. Moved to California and went to Musicians Institute, which is like right here, 2 blocks from me in Hollywood, and went there, and it was like 20 grand for their DJ program, and I got in it, and I wanted to learn everything that there is about DJing, so that way I could see, okay, let's give it a chance, because I was learning by myself first, and then I was hiring teachers, and some of these teachers were also teachers for my school, because like as I said, I maxed out my hours, so I started hiring teachers, which
Mm.
was another can of worms, because I really didn't have the skills to hire people, because it is also a skill that you learn, and I was just really hiring here and there without even thinking, what am I trying to accomplish by hiring this person? So it needs more mindfulness, but I didn't know it at the time. So that company went downhill real fast because of my hiring failure of attempt. But you know what? I learned a lot. So anyway, back to the story that I'm here at Musicians Institute, right? And DJing was still not my thing, but I learned how to DJ on turntables. So I'm like, this is actually kind of cool, you know, because it's more tangible and it feels like a real instrument. So I bought me a set of 1200s techniques and a mixer, and I put them on the kitchen counter, and I was just buying records, practicing records, and it was fun. It was fun. But you see, the reasoning for me to get into DJing was so I can spin my own records, and that's not the reason why I stayed. I'll tell you why I stayed. I went and played my first festival in the desert, and I fell in love with the dance floor. It was so magical. I have goosebumps talking about it. because of the synergetic exchange between you and the dance floor, and you're one, and for the moment, for this state of bliss and joy that happens. And you know what, it's uncomparable to anything else in my life I have experienced. Why I continue doing it? Because of that, but also looking back, I was a concert pianist growing up, and people would sit and listen for like half an hour, 45 minutes, or 1 hour in pretty clothing, in their chairs, and no fancy, and yawn after half an hour, yawn, okay? And doesn't matter how virtuosic you are, or how good you are, how hard you work, there's some kind of detached and entertained, but not engaged. But when you're DJing, oh, I'll tell you, nobody's yawning, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a synergetic exchange, and it's engaging. It's a togetherness versus like me here, you there, you know.
So you would
So
say,
it's really much
so you
fun.
would say like, what year? What year was this when you had like around like 70 students like as a piano teacher?
What year? Yeah. So 2000, and I started with that company was 2005, and grew really, really fast. But like I didn't reach 70 students immediately because it was like a word of mouth thing. It like went gradually up. So I would say maybe 2006, late 2006,
Oh.
2007,
So you would say,
before the market crash.
so would you say over like within the past like almost like 10 years, like you've been like been able to make like a living off music?
Oh, and well, I mean, even before that, you know, um, I would say before that more than now, because like I make a lot of changes now, and a lot of investments into things that are going to pay off in the long term. Like a pre, what is the word I'm looking for? Like a pay ahead. You know, building things that are not necessarily
Oh,
returning
like
investment
investing.
right now. Like for example, well, you could tell it investing in the company in its vision, but like the record label, you know, while it's growing, it's not necessarily generating income. Like the art cars, also while we're building them, it's not necessarily generating income. The radio show, while it's established, it's not necessarily generating the return on investment, given the time and like work you put into it. It's like all these things that I am doing nowadays that weren't back then. Before it was cash, and now it's more like I'm putting it back into the business, into growing it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how does it feel to you to know that you went from, man, at one point I was living in Bulgaria, I was like 13, 14, whatever. Life wasn't so good, I moved out. And now I'm living in Hollywood, Los Angeles, California, getting paid to do like something that I love. Like how does that like feel?
Yeah. It's good to stop and smell the roses sometimes. And it was a shocking thing for me 5, 6 years ago, maybe more, I would say, when I went back to Europe, and I rode in public transportation, and I was shocked by how people were very serious and almost mad and unhappy looking. And that's just their mentality. But like I'm used to the mentality in the States. And even though I travel a lot, I don't really spend much time in public transportation at all, ever. If I
Yeah, you
go
don't really
anywhere,
do
that
that
would
in
be
the US.
yeah, yeah. If I spend any time, like even in Europe, I would go everywhere in Europe with Uber. So I wouldn't go to public transportations very much. I have done it, but um, so that was shocking for me, and that's when I realized it's not them being all grumpy. It's me that changed, and now I see it. But they didn't. I didn't see it before because I was like that. It was the norm. And living in the States, hi, how are you? Hi, great. Oh my God, everything is like great. It's always smiling, right? That mentality is not exactly how
Yeah.
it's like the opposite in Europe. That's why a lot of people are saying, there's many different opinions. Like a lot of people were saying, Americans are fake. Well, how about they're happy? You know, they could be happy. They don't have to be just because they're smiling. Or Europeans are grumpy or real. They just tell you how it is. Well, there's people like this and like that anywhere, and I don't know. I never liked the stereotypical, but I definitely can tell you one thing. If we had more bike lanes here, I just realized that recently when I was trying to ride my bike and end up on a highway with my bike, and I got like into an accident and almost got run over and dead, but I'm not. So I'm not grateful for that. But if we had more bike lanes here in the States, there wouldn't be that many overweight and unhealthy people or
Oh
not
my
great
gosh.
looking people. Yeah.
America is just about like being in the car, like or at home all day. Don't even get me started on that. That's why I'm ready to go like back to Europe like at the end of this month.
Yeah. I don't have a car in the moment, so it also depends where you live. Also in St. Pete, where I was talking about St. Pete earlier. That city. I lived on the water, and then I lived in a mid city, and then I lived in downtown. It depends where you live. So if you do live in where you walk to everything, walk to food, walk the dog, walk to the beach, walk to everything, sure, you don't need, but like if you're going to go to a meeting across town or whatever, you would need a car. It depends how often, and you can just get an Uber if it's like once a month type of thing. But I didn't have a car at some point there, and I don't have a car in the moment where I live in Hollywood, and that's because how I set it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, do I need a car? Yes, yes. If I play a show in the desert 2.5 hours away, I could get an Uber, and I have done it, but then I can't come back because Ubers won't. They
Oh
will
yeah.
not
True.
go.
True. True.
Yeah, in the dirt road in the desert, and like, oh, it's crazy. But yeah, I would rent a car or go with a friend in those cases. So it's manageable.
So one thing that I asked Michelle that I want to ask you is what the reason why I'm asking this is because we never know like who's going to watch this in the future. So what is there anything that you need help with right now, or are there any connections that you're looking to make? That way, maybe somebody that's watching this would be like, "Oh, I could help with that," or "I know that person." We never know who people will share this with or what the possibility could come from this. So,
Yeah, that's a great connection. And I was recently looking into, because I do have big plans for my radio show. So I almost posted in Schoolers and in Undeterred about it, but I haven't yet, and probably I will. But I'm looking to somebody that has worked or is working with Sirius FM radio
what
station.
was serious? What?
Sirius FM. It's a
Oh,
radio
okay, yeah,
station, satellite radio. Yeah,
yeah.
that you have it in your car. Yeah. So that would be really cool to connect with somebody, that is from there. And I'm always available to help in school with whatever is needed. And if you just need a friend to talk or some advice that I could help you with, I have a community for piano players and people that like piano. Um, but it's really not focused on the learning part. It's focused on the peace of mind, the joy, the mentality of being in the joy zone, so you can do everything better at your life. Kind of like a more of like a meditation and joy time. But I'm open to open other communities. I'm not like set in stone with that. The reason I did it is so I can get my feet wet with the community game and learn how to lead, create a community and grow it, and then create engagement for learning purposes. Because as I said, piano has always been with me. So I was like, I have a ton of things that I can help people with when it comes to piano. So let's start with that. But I do want to have other communities too. Later on down the line. We just we'll see.
But
So
what
I'm
and
always here for you guys.
what? Speaking of which, like, what do you love the most about being an Undeterred?
Yeah, I think it's the notion of reminding myself I am it. Like, for example, this morning I had I had this one meeting with a board of investors that I, I knew that could be potentially uncomfortable. You know what I did, Dee? I brushed my hair and I put my hat on and I looked in the mirror and I said, "Undeterred, baby." And I was like, I'm ready to rock
Let's
and roll. You
go.
know what I'm saying? It's like it's a notion of you being that, me identifying myself as that. And it's just super powerful.
I love that, and I appreciate all the like positive energy that you bring to the community. Like it's just dope. Like having you around and being able to like have connected with you, and hopefully we get to be able to like do this in person one day.
Yeah, soon.
Yes. Okay. How can people like connect with you, like personally? If they're like, man, I really want to connect with Rosita. What's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, I'm in Undeterred all the time. You can just tag me. And if your thing is other social media, I'm absolutely everywhere possible. With my artist name Aleksandrova as a username everywhere, and I have other things
Can you
like
spell that?
different YouTube channels for the school and different things, and but all of those are like secondary things. I'm mostly, if I'm posting something, it would be on Alexandrova, and then everything else is just I have other ones too. But you can find
Can you
those
spell
other
that
ones
for
through
people?
Alexandrova. Yes, I'm just saying that you can find the other stuff through Alexandrova because everything is connected. It's AL3 as the number 3, Xandrova. So it's Alexandrova, abbreviated.
Alexandrova. Man, that is so cool. Um, the only other thing I would say, this is random. Maybe you say no. If you say no, that's fine. That's totally fine. But should we have you give us a little sneak peek of your piano playing skills while we're on here at the end, or is that too much?
No, it's not. How much time you got?
I don't know. Maybe just like just a little snippet, enough for them to be like, okay, let me go check out her YouTube channel. Let me go get into Undeterred. I was just thinking that would be kind of cool to like see a little, not a full, obviously like a presentation, but just like a little quick little snippet.
Sure. Let's see what to play though.
Is that an organ back there?
Yes, I went ahead and bought an organ just to see how I like it, and I love it. I'm already composing music on it as well.
Dang, that's cool.
You know, it is really cool. It's so like ancient.
Oh, this is gonna be
What
so cool.
play? I guess I'll just play like an original song.
Yes.
short.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
dude. I don't know how good the audio is going to be on the recording, but that was amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I cut it a little short because I was like, oh yeah, I don't know how much of time we have, and yeah, you get the point. That's kind of like
Yes,
this
that
is a
was so
no-name
cool.
song. Thank you.
I hope that one day we have a undeterred like in-person event, and then we find the piano somehow, and to like hear you play in person would be so awesome.
Yeah, it's not hard to find a piano, you know.
That's very true. Once I get settled in a place, I'm gonna get back to playing piano, and then that's when I'm gonna come to you and say, Rosita, help me, because I can play a little bit, but I want to learn how to like read. I want to be able to play a lot better.
Yeah, it's really not that hard.
Man, I love that. Thank you so much for being on here. I appreciate you. I'll end it, but it'll keep us in here, so we can still talk after this. But I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you, and thank you everyone for watching.